Well, welcome to the Epilepsy Awareness Day Expo 2015. This is my daughter Sophie. I'm Brad Levy, and we're the event founders. And we want to introduce you to a few families that are basically stepping up and fighting back against epilepsy. One of our first speakers is John Scheinman here from Livys Hope. We have the Yeomans families here who do the Yeomans Family Barbecue for Tuberous Sclerosis Alliance. And I have Kristen Roberts here, who is a longtime veteran EEG neurodiagnostic technician and epilepsy patient, post-surgical, and all kinds of good stuff. So without any more time, come on up, guys.
So welcome. As Brad said, my name is John Scheinman, and I'm from Clearwater, Florida. And my story started about 11 years ago when my twin girls, Haley and Olivia, were born. And Haley was a perfectly healthy child, but Olivia, on the other hand, not so much. So shortly after she was born, the doctors noticed some twitching in her eyes and really said, you know, we should probably take a look at this and see what's going on. So luckily, we were in a hospital that had a children's hospital right next door. So I remember very vividly the doctors actually pushed her down through a tunnel that connected the two hospitals together and went right into the NICU, which obviously was very new to me. And looking back now, that tunnel was really a path to a whole new life, which I was not aware of yet. And when we got into the NICU, also lots of other families there with their kids, and I sat down next to Libby. And I looked at her, and she looked back up at me, and she started to stiffen and then to shake, and that was her first tonic-clonic seizure. So we've been fighting this battle ever since she was born 11 years ago. She's had 2 brain surgeries. The first one was back in 2006, and then her next one was several years later, and her second one actually was a functional hemispherectomy, which basically they disconnected the entire left side of her brain. So she's one of those kiddos who really is hard to treat, and doctors have a hard time treating her. She still continues to have seizures even to this day. So, you know, we had a choice to make way back then. Do we let this beat us, or do we keep fighting? So we chose to keep fighting. And what came out of that was our organization, Livys Hope. And this organization is based on love. It's based on a sister's love for her twin. And it's based on parents wanting to do more to help other families who are going through the same things that we're going through. And it started as a way for us to raise money for Libby's therapy, because she also has cerebral palsy, and she cannot walk or talk, so she has other issues that, along with her epilepsy. But it's really changed our lives, and it's been a way for us to fill the void of all the things that we can't do. So we think of it as things that we can do now. And some of the things that we can do are give back to the organizations that help us along the way. Probably our biggest initiative is what we call Lemonade for Livy. And I'm not sure if any of you have heard about Lemonade for Livy, but it's a yearly campaign that raises money for epilepsy research. We do a lot of work with the Epilepsy Foundation and fund some of the grants that they give out. And it's really, over the past couple of years, has expanded nationally and even outside of the US as well. So we're really happy about that, and it's one of the big ways that we can give back. You know, Livys Hope, again, has filled so much of our lives with joy that we thought could never be there anymore. And our tagline is, don't give up, give back. And that really has helped me to stop asking the question, why? So how many of you have asked the question, why? Why me? Why my family? Why my kids? Right? I'm sure all of you have done that at a point in time. And I find that asking that question makes me feel helpless. And it's tiring. So I started asking the question, what? What can I do about this? What can I do to give back? What motivates me? What can I do with the things I have learned to help others? So it really got all those answers the last time Livy was in the hospital, which was several years ago. And we had exhausted all of her emergency medication, so at home we just could not stop her seizures. And even in the hospital, the doctors couldn't stop her seizures either. So we would watch them give her a bolus of medication, and half an hour later, she would start to seize again. And in order to get through that time, it's you know, whether it's a parental thing, or I had to actually just emotionally dislocate myself from what was going on, because there's no other way to get through that, watching your child go through all of this. And what I found, though, is that during that time was when I became the most determined and the most steadfast in how I was going to do something to make a difference. And really after that is when I decided to become dedicated to helping those in the epilepsy community. And that's really when Lemonade for Livy started and all the other work that we do in the community. So, and seeing you here today and all the other people who are walking around, it really just even motivates me even more to give back. So what I'm going to say is I challenge all of you, instead of asking why, ask what. What's your purpose? What can you do with the experiences that you have to give back to others? And really the next phase in all of your lives is not determined yet, but it's only you who can make it great. So don't let fear be the thing that holds you back. The epilepsy community is here for you. They're here to stand for you, and I think collectively everybody wants to make sure families can exceed and those with epilepsy can live the best lives that they possibly can. And I'm just going to end with, whatever you do, don't ever give up hope. Thank you.
Nice job. Hi, I'm Bill Yeomans. I'm losing my voice, so I'll probably be passing this off. This is my wife, Nancy, and Alyssa. We started a walk for tuberous sclerosis about 14 years ago, and that's what our daughter has, is illness called tuberous sclerosis, TSC. There's a booth out in the exhibit hall today. Please stop by and say hi and get a little more information about TS. It's very important to us. One of the things is with TS, 94% of all TS people have epilepsy, seizures also. So that's kind of what brought us into this realm of epilepsy, and she's had them. She was diagnosed at 1.5 years. She actually was having them before we realized that partial complex seizures. We didn't really realize what they were at the time. We just called them scares because she always woke up. You know, we just thought, oh, she just woke up scared, but no, that was seizures. So we started the walk, and we were getting them, about 350 people the first couple of years, and we had about 120 or so people were our friends. We're coming to see, coming. And it was a lot of work for our family. The girls, they were like, Dad, do we have to stop here? Because I'd always stop. Hey, they haven't given us anything. Can we go ask them? And is the manager here? And I was always begging and asking for donations and stuff. And so it was a lot of work. And we ended up, the national organization asked us to do it for 2 years, get it going, and then trade off to somebody else. So we did that. And we're still very involved helping out with that every year. But a lot of our friends said they wanted, hey, how's it going? We want to see you guys. We all know how it's hard to see all our friends. We want to say hi, but you just always, well, this became that opportunity for us to see a lot of our friends, and really they want to know what's going on with Alyssa. And so we hey, let's just have a barbecue in the backyard. And we just had our 10th barbecue this year. We've averaged a little over $7,000 a year. It's not a lot, but it makes a difference over time. That's going to make a difference. I always say in our letter, our invitation, and our thank you that, I believe $1 raised out of our backyard will make a difference, and that's all that matters. This year we raised just about $12,000. That was a little bit motivating though, because Alyssa had a routine tonsillectomy August 3rd, and on August 5th we found her unconscious and unresponsive. We rushed her to the hospital. She had, they believe, a perfect storm swelling from the tonsillectomy and a seizure, and she aspirated, and she ended up, she was in a coma for 5 days and paralyzed. And yeah, we were told 60% of people who come in this sick won't make it, but here she is. But the thing is, this is something everybody can do. TS group, I know that people of Kari Carlson's kind of the the presidency, leader of the TS Alliance, and she's challenged groups before. Even if everybody just got together and you could get your friends to stop by and make a donation, that's all we ask is you walk in into our backyard. We have a friend who collects money. If you leave $5 or $500, you've made a difference, and it adds up. Most of our average, we get about 100 people to show up, and several other, maybe another 50 to 100 who mail us donations. That's Milo, by the way, and our other daughter, Kayla. You can make a difference, and that money starts adding up. And if everybody in their own communities were able to do something like that, that can, you start tenfolding, 100-time folding that $5,000, $7,000 throughout, everybody in their own group of friends. You can make a lot of money for epilepsy and for research, which can make a difference.
You're doing good.
Okay. One of the nuts. What?
You make it simple. Huh?
Yeah, nuts and bolts to it. I think is kind of what we were told to talk about a little bit. Was we make it very simple. We pay for it. We used to have a friend who had a business, but he lost his business, so he no longer can pay for it. But we look at that as our main donation to TS each year and the epilepsy group. And so we pay for that. It costs us probably about $800 to put up food and invitations, and we have a band. This year we had a band, or we'll get somebody to come and sing. We have door prizes, and that's us buying a lot of our own door prizes. We get some donated, but that's gotten harder and harder if you've ever had to try and do that, asking for things. It can be tough sometimes, but we're just sending out a simple invitation. We run it for about 5 hours through the day, from 2 to 7. It goes longer if you want to stay around, and we have food and beverages and entertainment, and you just leave what you want. You can, like I said, I have students who've come and they brought in, and they hand me $5, or not hand me, but our friend who takes money hands them $5, and they have a great time, and they've made a difference. They learn about it. We think the awareness is huge. For us, if somebody can walk away having a little bit more knowledge. Every once in a while during for door prizes, we'll do a trivia question. So I'll have little flyers out on the tables, people can look at, and when they find out all of a sudden there's going to be a trivia question, they read it a little bit more because they might want to win that Buffalo Wild Wings gift card or something. And so we can all make a difference. And the TS Alliance, their big saying is, we'll give everything but up. So if everybody adopts that, I think we could do a lot and be very powerful. Livys hope.
The one thing that I've learned through this illness is that you're not alone, and especially with epilepsy. There's, I think one in every 26,000 someone has epilepsy.
26 people.
Oh, 1 in 26 people has epilepsy, and that if you ever need help, just reach out and people will be there for you. And I know that I've had some good friends and people that I've met through epilepsy, and I know that I am here with epilepsy because I have a purpose, and I think one of the purposes is to be here today and to be and make a difference.
The school forced me to go see a psychiatrist to be able to go back into school because my behavior had changed. And what they were looking for was absent seizures. I did not get diagnosed with that, so I saw the psychiatrist. I got put on antipsychotic medications that did not blend well with my seizure medications, because back then medications was very limited. Now, I think there were maybe 5 or 6 seizure meds. There's probably 30 or more now to choose from. But anyhow, I started seeing things, having hallucinations. My little itty bitty mother came into the room, and I went after her with a steak knife because she, to me, was a monster. I got hauled off, put into a psych ward, 5-point restraints for several days while I went through my delusionary period. Eventually got diagnosed. The hospital had a tech, came in, did the EEG, and did it properly. And within 20 seconds of my doing the breathing exercise, I got diagnosed with absent seizures. Got off the psychotic meds, went back to school. And during all of this, I'm asking, why me? why me? And exactly that, it did not empower me by any means. So I started saying to myself, why not me? Someone needs to have this, why not me? And why not do something about it? So I started anybody and everybody that would listen to me, whether they're walking down the street and even wanted to hear about what seizure was, I was just letting them know it, what it was all about. Eventually I went through, had some good years in high school, and once I hit my 20s, things went downhill again, and in a very big way. I was having probably 70 absent seizures a day. I was ended up housebound between the age of 20 to 29. I was having, a good month was 35 of the other type of seizures in a month. My bad days, which there was way too many of, was 70. Not 17, but 70 in a day. Eventually, I got brain surgery after suffering many comas from medication issues that I had, which were on that rear, very, very fine print on all the medications. I seem to have won the lottery yet again in that category, and ended up in multiple comas lasting anywhere from 3 days to 2 months. And the 2-month one, I was not expected to survive. Luckily I did. I was felt to have come out with brain damage. I still kind of have to agree with him on that a little bit. Slightly damaged. Eventually I got brain surgery, and was expected to have a 30% reduction. This was back in '94 while they were still learning things with surgery. They did not remove everything that they felt needed to come out because they were afraid I would wake up with unable to use the left side of my body. So they stopped and gave my parents even less hope than that 30%. To shorten it up, I stand before you now, 21 years, seizure-free, and 18 years off. So when they're saying have hope, and there's new technology coming out, and has come out to help control seizures. Devices that are now implanted on the outside of the brain, vagal nerve stimulators, and they're working on other things. So what do I do after I realize I can now have a life seizure-free? Well, when I started asking myself, why not me? I became an EEG technologist, or a neurodiagnostic tech. I have worked with the American Society for Neurodiagnostic Techs, ASCET. They have a booth out here, ASCT. They can tell you all about your EEGs. They can tell you about ambulatory. They can tell you about long-term monitoring. They can tell you about the surgeries, the process to go through that, and give you information, as well as the hospitals. But my main focus on becoming a tech was to get some type of regulation out there. So no other kid or no other adult has to go in and have a study, because that EEG tech is not regulated. They can be pulled from the mailroom. They can be pulled from the cafeteria and taught in a week's time how to run the test. That doesn't happen at all hospitals. But my recommendation to you is ask them, did you have a formal education, and are you registered? There is an organization out there that registers techs, so ask them, are you registered? You going in for a back surgery, ask them if they have a technologist monitoring for the spinal column. That's what neurodiagnostic technology is all about. We study the brain and the central nervous system. Currently, I've been tasked to create a California society to help educate techs in the state of California, and also to work towards licensure in the state, so that there is no question when you go into a hospital or when you go into a clinic that you have somebody that is trained and qualified and knows what they're doing, to ask questions to find out whether they should be doing HV, whether they should be doing photic stimulation, whether they darn well better run that test longer and do what they can to get drowse on you when they can see things in drowse that they can't see in the awake state sometimes. So right now, we have formed the California Neurodiagnostic Society. We're in the process of raising funds to try to get legislation passed so that no one has to go through potentially what I went through. That's my goal. That's my drive in life. And I hope in the near future I can come back to one of you guys and say, that's why it was me. And that every one of you and your loved ones can go in and get a test done and know they're getting it done by someone that really understands what they're doing and is going to give you the best possible test. Because it's the MRIs can show you things, but to know what's happening with your brain and your brain function, and whether that thing that the MRI is showing you is where your seizures are coming from, is what neurodiagnostic technologists, those EEG technologists, are doing for you. So in the near future, if you see this, the California Neurodiagnostic Society out somewhere raising funds, please donate, and I promise you, I will do what I can with a wonderful group of techs that may not have the story I have, but they have the drive to make sure that each and every one of you that's ever diagnosed with seizure disorder gets the quality care and the quality EEG that they need and should have, and should have been having all along. So I think that's probably what I need to say, or came here to say, and I thank you very much for your time. And I'm very proud to be here. I'm very proud to see all of you here, and like Alyssa was saying, you ever have a problem, you're ever feeling down, not just the patient of epilepsy, but the families. There's so much now. There was only one organization when I went through what I did, and mine was so severe they rejected me. They didn't even want me going to their meetings. So there's so much more out there, so much understanding. When you're having doubts and you're questioning your existence, whether you're worthwhile, go talk to someone, even if it's not that. Going to see a psychologist or something, there's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes your family can't get whatever you are feeling at that time of those emotions. You just need to talk to someone that'll listen and kind of validate your feelings. Go do that. There's nothing to be ashamed of. People without medical conditions go and see someone, a social worker, or will go to a meeting. Reach out to somebody if life is getting like that for you, or for the family members. Reach out. That's so important. I had a wonderful family. They did it at times. I did it at times when we could find someone out there that would help. And it will be vital in how you deal with things, and just keep a positive attitude. You want to play ball, find a way to play ball. You want to jump rope and someone's telling you not to, well, see if you can do it with a helmet on, if that makes everyone happy. Live your life to the fullest is all I can say as far as having been an epilepsy patient. Do what you can to, if they tell you no you can't, I always said, well, how can I get around the can't? And found a way to do sports, basketball, soccer, donating my time, volunteering, even if it only meant I could do it for 1 month, and then someone said, no, not a good idea with your seizures. But for a little while, for those 4 weeks, I was on top of the world. And I hope each and every one of you finds that niche to get out there and do what you can and be the fullest person you can be. And you're not a person with epilepsy. You are Alyssa, who just happens to have something that interferes with their life. And that's how you identify yourself. I hope each one of you and your loved ones are able to find a way to say that you are first. You just happen to have something that seems to push a buzzer every once in a while and makes you feel like that. Thank you.